Okay.
Okay. Lord, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this new day. Thank you for this ministry. Thank you for all those who were able to log on and to participate in this meeting. Bless those who, for whatever reason, could not be here. Even bless those who chose not to be here. But let something be said, let something be heard, let something be learned so that we can take words of knowledge that we hear from this speaker in our conversation afterwards, so that we may go into the community and live lives in a good, Christianly, stewardly way, and that we can let others learn to live the lives as you believe. And it's in your son, Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
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 All right, I see that the Dawsons have joined us, and I think the Reverend Boyd's sister, Ms. Dye, has also joined us as well. And as I said, other people will be
My
joining
sister.
as we go along.
No, Miss Boyd.
I'm sorry, Ms. Boyd's sister. I'm sorry.
Yes.
She's my sister too.
All right, all right. I'm real happy to introduce the speaker of the hour. And I'm just going to, can we mute everybody for a second? All right, we're just going to mute everybody for a second, just so that we can all hear what somebody's saying. I'm proud and happy to introduce DeShawn Chapman. He is a financial advisor. He's actually one of the team leaders at Northwestern Mutual. He's been our financial advisor for years. And I can tell you, he's very proactive. He rounds us up every year and has us come see him. So even when we're not on point with our finances, he hounds us down to make sure that we are thinking about our finances in a good way. Not only that, he's a family man. His wife is not only his wife, but also his office administrator, I think it is as well. And he has two wonderful daughters, talented and gifted. One is playing basketball at University of Richmond. And I know from conversation, DeShawn's not paying a dime for her college education because of her talents. And I know him to be, and Zelda and I both know him to be a Christian spirit and a Christian person. And that follows him not only in his personal life, but also in his professional life. So when we thought about having someone to come and speak on this topic, he was the first person we thought about, and he, of course, readily accepted. So I'm not going to speak anymore. I'll just turn the meeting over to DeShawn Chapman. Good morning, DeShawn.
Good morning. Thanks for that, Judge Johnson. Thanks, Dr. Zelda Johnson. Can you hear me okay? I switched over to my earphones so I can eliminate some background. So if you have any issues hearing me, just let me know. But hey, I'm super excited to spend some time with you all, and thanks for that introduction. I've been blessed and very fortunate to know the Johnsons. As you guys can attest to, they're great people, and I love surrounding myself with great people. It inspires me, it motivates me, and helps me to be better. So thanks for that. As well as I want to thank the Personal Finance Ministry for hosting me today, as well as 3rd Street Bethel AME Church. So I'm super excited to be part of your attendance this morning. And I'm going to talk about something that I'm very passionate about. And I hope you share my passion. Just a little history in addition to what Judge Johnson shared. My background is in engineering. So I have a master's in electrical engineering from North Carolina A&T State University, just in case there's any Aggies out there in the mix. Aggie Pride. Aggie Pride. I figured there would be some Aggies. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Well, Aggie Pride. So I got a master's. Very fortunate to be a part of what Northwestern A&T produces. And so I did that for 15 years at a pretty high level. And so I traveled the world, ran factories for Motorola. But then there came a point in time where I needed to make some changes. I wanted to spend more time with the family than spend 80 hours in a factory or plane. And so I wanted to do something different, but wasn't sure. So I came across this opportunity to work in this area of finance and wealth building with Northwestern Mutual. So, I've been doing this over a decade, and I have the opportunity to help a lot of great people. So this is very near and dear to me because I want to have impact, right? So I live a purpose-driven life. I want to leave things better off than when I found it. I want to leave my children in a very good shape, because I think money is very important in our daily lives, right? It affects a lot of areas such as health, relationships, and things that we all know about. So this is a topic I want to talk about, but here are some rules. This is going to be not one way. It's going to be very interactive. So if everybody can locate the chat down at the bottom of their screen, we're going to utilize the chat so that we can have some fun and learn and challenge each other along the way. So let me put up my presentation here and we can get started. So can everybody see my screen?
I think we need to make you.
No.
Okay, here we go. How about now?
Yeah, he's looking.
Okay.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, no.
Perfect. All right. So the first thing, the topic of this is building wealth. And everybody's unique. Everybody thinks differently. That's how God made us. So the question is, what does wealth mean to you? So I want you to go to your chat, right? So in the chat box there, and type in, what does wealth mean to you? Can everybody find their chat? And by the way, the good thing about this, there's no right or wrong answers. All right, we got having financial freedom, peace of mind, peace and comfort, generational wealth, leaving land and money for future generations. I love it. Living according to your financial goals. Leaving a legacy. Fixing my garage. For Alex Taylor, it means fixing his son's car. All right, very good. Hey, thanks for that. Hey, and that's the point. The point is that there's no right or wrong answer. It's your answer, and so it's very personal and very intimate to your needs and to your family needs. So when we talk about building wealth, you get to define what wealth means to you, right? Nobody else. So you get to define that. So my favorite Bible verses and sayings on building wealth, right? So every time I engage with a client, I think about this, because I think about, I have a very diverse client base, and I think about some of the things that they're doing. A good man or good person leaveth an inheritance to his children's children. Okay. So what does that mean, right? So it's interesting that some of my clients have what's called generational skipping trust. They have trust that's bypassing their children because their children are already set up and is going to the grandchildren. So talk about leaving a legacy. Talk about building wealth for future generations. And I get excited about that. My other saying, which I don't think is in the Bible, but I've heard it in church, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail, right? So building generational wealth is intentional, right? It's individual. You have to plan, and it takes time. And that's the biggest thing, right? So when I get a call and somebody say, hey, I have $100, can you turn it to $1,000? No. No, I can't work magic, but over time, and we're going to talk about that. So what is your favorite Bible verse or saying when it comes to wealth? Does anybody have a favorite saying they got from their grandparents or from mom and dad? Any favorite Bible verses out there? Anybody want to share? Just put it in the chat. We'll wait for one or two. Tides. The debtor is slave to the lender. Absolutely. Isn't that true? Isn't that true? When you owe somebody, then you're essentially a slave to them. They can come after your assets. They can call you. They can harass you. They can send you monthly statements. They can go up on your interest rates. I want you to have a life and have it more abundantly. Yeah, I want you to have life and have it more abundantly. Yeah, these are great sayings. These are great Bible verses that describes building wealth. Okay. All right. So you're building wealth. Your wealth building plan is actually what I should say. Your wealth building plan. So here's opportunity to rate yourself. Awareness is the genesis of improvement. You have to be aware, right? We can't avoid it. We have to be aware. So how do you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? So I had to put hot mess in there to have some fun. Make sure everybody's up. So 1, hot mess, right? 10, hey, actually, DeShawn, I could teach this seminar. And be careful if you rate a 10, we might call on you to do that. So how would you rate yourself from 1 to 10? So we got a 7, all right? 7, okay. 5, 8, 9. All right, we got some 9s up there. We got some expertise. 6, 7, 8, 6. All right, so if I had to look at the average or maybe, the median, we're talking about 6.5. So this is a pretty knowledgeable group, right? So it's not a rookie group, financial rookies, but you do have some knowledge other than there's one person who's a 9. So good thing is there's no hot messes. All right, one more, get ready for this because I want to make sure the information that we share is relevant to you and it pierces your heart and it's a call to action. It challenges you to go off and do something differently from what you've been doing before. So these are topics that we can talk about. We can talk about debt management. We can talk about financial planning. We can talk about the principles of investing. We can talk about life insurance, long-term care, retirement. We have all these topics that we can talk about. So I want to gain your interest. So looking at these topics, which topics should we spend more time on today? So we got debt management, we got financial planning, we got investing, life insurance, long-term care, retirement. You can pick 1, 2, or all of them. So investing. Okay, financial planning, investing, debt management, life insurance, investing, financial planning, retirement. Investing, have a lot of money, but don't know what to do with it and how to multiply it. Daryl, we should talk. Real soon. I need all of them. Veronica said all of them. Well, this is great. All right, so what I'll do is I'll talk a little bit about all the topics, but I'll spend more time on the ones that are listed here. And again, this is interactive. I'm going to watch the chat as much as I can. And so Dr. Zelda Johnson, Judge Johnson, if you guys see a question out there while I'm talking that I miss, just let me know. Just let me know and I'll address it. All righty, so let's go to slideshow. All right, let's talk about strategies for managing debt, right? As far as debt is concerned, not all debt is bad. There's good debt, there's bad debt. So let's talk about good debt versus bad debt. Credit card debt, bad debt, bad debt. back to the borrower is slave to the lender. When you have credit card debt, you're paying somebody interest. There are some introductory 0% APR. The person at the bank can attest to that. But at some point in time, that 0% APR goes to a higher number. Sometimes it's double digit. I've seen interest rates out there as high as 25%. So you either make money on your money or people make money on you. So ideally, your money is making money versus the other way around. So 41% of households carry some sort of credit card debt. That's shy of half of the households in the United States are full of some type of credit card debt. So as we talk about credit card debt, interest rates are typically high, and some people pay minimum payments, and you don't want to do that because what that does, that draws out the length of time that you are paying back that credit card debt. And that length of time, you're paying interest. So somebody's making money on you. Not only are you paying interest, so you're paying extra than what you owe, that's missed opportunity. If you're not paying that credit card debt, then you can use that money and invest or save and make money on your money. So that's also a missed opportunity. So the point is that if you have credit card debt, don't feel bad. As we see a lot of Americans do, let's have a strategy. Let's have a plan to be debt-free of bad debt. And then there's some good debt, right? Mortgage loans, that's considered good debt. Student loans. I know a lot of times student loans feel like a 1,000-pound gorilla on your back, but you invested in yourself. So all we have to do now is have a strategy to pay it back. And then car loans. Car loans is also considered good debt. It allows you to get from A to B, right? Whether it's your job or grocery store or whatever the case may be. So these are considered good debt. So the moral of the story is let's eliminate credit card debt as soon as possible. Let's have a strategy for that. And then the other debt we can manage, right? We can pay it off in 5 years, if mortgage 10, 30 years. We're talking about refinancing mortgage loans and things like that as well. So if we were to do a deep dive into your debt to income ratio, so you take a look at your income, you take a look at your debt, here's a number I want you to think about. And I want you to go off and calculate for yourself. So on a budget sheet, and we have those if you need it, on your budget sheet, look at your total monthly debt, right? So mortgage, auto loan, student loans, and then look at your income, okay? So this is what you're bringing in on a monthly basis. So take all your debt, think about all your debt, divide it by your income. So your debt to income ratio should be below 36%. Let's do that one more time. A goal for you is for your debt to income ratio should be below 36%. So you're adding up all your debt, then you're dividing it by your income. Monthly debt divided by monthly income. Okay, and a lot of you can do it in your head, right? It should be below 36%. So that's a good rule of thumb. That's a good target for you. If you're below that, then you're in a good space. If you're above that, then again, we should have a plan to reduce that debt. And why is that important? It feeds into everything that, you know, as far as your credit score. So when you go to apply for a loan, any type of loan, they're looking at your FICO score, looking at your credit score. And a lot of times people ask me, so DeShawn, how to improve my credit score? Well, here's how you improve your credit score. And there are some apps out there like Credit Karma that helps you do that. But just in general, here's the factors that they use to calculate your credit score. Your bill paying history. So you want to make sure you pay your bills on time. We just talked about the debt to income ratio. You want to make sure that debt to income ratio is low. And then they look at the types of credit that you have. And then lastly, how long have you had credit? So they want to look at some history there. How long have you had credit? Have you paid on time? how much debt do you have, and what type of credit do you hold. And so that helps you calculate your credit score. So 300 to 850 is the range. Okay, I get that question a lot, but that's some high level information. And if somebody, if I can't see the chat in presentation mode, so if there's a question out there, if somebody could just let me know. I'll keep going. Most of you probably already know this, but if you don't, you can get a free credit report online every year. There's 3 different credit bureaus, or 3 different credit reporting agencies: Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. Annualcreditreport.com. Annualcreditreport.com. You can literally go in every quarter and get a credit report from Experian. Then the next quarter, you can get one from TransUnion. Then the next quarter, you get one from Equifax. So annualcreditreport.com. Okay. You want to know how well your credit is doing and if there's any surprises on there. All right. One thing that we help our clients with is a budget sheet. And so I want some interaction here. What percent should you save of your income? So you think about your monthly income, what percent should you save? %. Yeah. Then it said 15%. Okay. 30%. Oh, wow. Gwendolyn. That's awesome. Let's talk. Melanie, 10%. Okay. 15% the savings account. Goal. Oh, that's a goal. Okay. All right. That's your goal. It's good to have those goals. All right. So here's the thing about this. Back in the days, and Dr. Johnson's parents are back there. They probably remember this. There was a time where you worked for a company for 30 years and you retire with a pension and a gold watch. Those days are gone. Most companies don't have pensions anymore. And if you guys, and most of you probably have some children that's working ages, or yourself, work for a company 30 years, that doesn't happen anymore. That's very rare, right? Especially, I don't like to do labels, but millennials, so-called millennials, they're changing jobs every 2 to 3 years. So when you had a pension and we can count on Social Security, the goal was to save 10%. But let's take out the pension, right? Because most people don't have it. Some people do. If you work for a state, if you work for, federal government, most people don't have pensions anymore. And then the question is, what does Social Security look like when you need it, right? I can tell you it's not healthy like it used to be. So saving 20% is what the goal is, right? Can you make the screen larger? Okay. Yeah, I was just talking at the moment, so I'll put it here. Yeah. So saving 20% is the goal. And like Gwendolyn said, you might not be there today, but that's where we have to get to. And we have to have a plan to get there. 60% is essential, right? And by the way, DoorDash don't count to be, essential. That Michael Kors pocketbook, that's not essential. Let's define what essential means. Essential has to do with housing, transportation, food, right? Shelter, things like that. That's essential. You can't live without these things. And I know, my wife said, I can't live without this pocketbook, this Coach pocketbook. I get it. But actually you can. You can. And then 20% is discretionary, right? And people ask me, hey, DeShawn, where do ties fall, right? So it use discretionary, so we're not gonna get into that, but it is accounted for here. So you want to charities, charitable contributions is part of that giving as well. Okay. So your budget should include everything. Here's the biggest mistake that I see people make, right? Most people pay their bills first, 15, whatever the case may be. So that's the 60%. Then they go to fun stuff. They go to fun stuff, right? Then they'll save whatever they have left over. That doesn't work. Savings became the last priority, and we never get around to it. So you have to give every dollar a job. And Dr. Johnson, maybe your parents can help me with this. My grandparents did this. They used to have money and they put it in envelopes. Do you remember money envelopes?
I
Money
started
envelopes?
doing that.
Yeah, who's doing money? Somebody's doing money envelopes.
Melanie.
Yes, money envelopes, right? So essentially what you're doing is you giving every dollar a job, right? Because if you don't give that dollar a job, it's going to find its way into the pocketbook and the DoorDash and all the other fun stuff. So give every dollar a job. That's the point. So great job of using those envelopes. All right, so how do we free up money, right? So hey, DeShawn, I know I need to save 20%, but I make this amount. How do you free up money? Well, I have a good story. One of my friends who just recently became a client, he shared his story. Don't make a lot of money, right? But having said that, he got an extra job. And in fact, he did DoorDash. And all his extra money went towards paying off debt. And he paid off $50,000 debt in 1 year. So, I think my household contributed to that, right? As far as DoorDash, we do a lot of DoorDash. So getting that extra job, extra income, and making sure that you pay off the debt. So what do you do if I get multiple credit cards? There's a couple of strategies, right? There's a debt snowball strategy where it talks about taking the lowest amount, right? So if you have $100 or $5,000 credit card versus 10,000, start on the lowest one first, and then once you pay that off, then apply to the next one. There's different strategies. Again, there's not a right or wrong strategy. Just pick a strategy, use it. Or you go to highest credit card, right? So if you got some low interest rate credit card, 0% introductory, and you get a higher interest rate credit card, 22%, I've seen some as high as 28%, then you want to pay those off first, okay? So you pay minimum, whether you're using debt snowball or you addressing the highest interest rate credit card. What I see people do is they try to take care of all at the same time, right? And put a lot here, a lot there. No, pick one, pay that off, and then go to the next one. So that's how you free up money. We have some strategies on paying off student loan. We won't get into that. One thing I would say is with interest rates being so low, if you have rental property, if you have primary mortgage, call your lender or whoever. If you know a consolidated broker, if you don't, I do, then get some quotes on paying off or refinancing your mortgage. What I'm hearing people do, take a 30-year mortgage and they're reducing it to 20 years by refinancing, and they're paying the same amount. And that's saving them thousands of dollars over time. And there's somebody who works at a bank here, so they can attest to that.
Hey, DeShawn, before you move on, I was going to point up some statements and question in the chat, but when you brought up refinancing your mortgage, just to follow up on that, we were planning to refinance our mortgage. We actually contacted somebody we know locally to refinance our mortgage. And in part of the process, they run a credit check for you. And we had to go through the process of submitting all these documents, getting appraisal, everything else. Well, Chase, who has the mortgage to our loan here, found out about it. I guess they have ways to find out people are checking our credit, knew what we were doing, and they gave us a great offer. Just sign a dotted line, a better offer, better interest rate, just turn it in.
And without doing any documentation or anything. It just changed the payment amount for the month.
So I would encourage everybody, just try to do a refinancing right now. But before you go further, there's a statement in the chat. They said company matching plan is essential. That's from Gwen Davis.
Yeah.
And also Lori said, can you explain the envelope concept?
Yeah, thanks for that. And please do, because when I'm in presentation mode, I can't see the chat the way it's set up. So Gwen, you're absolutely right. So what Gwen is saying, if you work for a company, you need to find out about the retirement benefits, right? If you don't know, it's okay. Just raise your hand, ask the HR and say, hey, tell me more about my retirement benefits. Because if they're matching, you want to take advantage of that match. Here's what that means, right? So most employers have what's called a retirement plan. It might be a 401k, it might be a 457, it might be a 403b. Don't worry about that. Those are all tax codes, right? But all it is a company sponsored plan, and you can put money aside up to a certain amount every year. So let's say that your company has a matching plan, you put in 3%. Well, they're going to put in 3%. So they're going to match you dollar for dollar up to a certain percent, right? So instead of you saving 3%, your total savings or equivalent savings is 6%, right? And you using their money. So where can you go and put $1 and somebody give you $1? Well, not too many places, but your company matching plan. So you're right. There are situations when I sit down with people, I find out that they have a retirement plan and they say, well, I'm not planning on staying there. So I'm not contributing. Contribute, especially if they have a matching plan. So Gwen is absolutely right. So that's retirement matching. The envelope concept, right? So go back to, I'm gonna go back to the budget. Actually, let me do this. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna pull up one. All right. So when we engage with our clients, the first thing we do is understand their debt to income ratio. And we also help them understand where their money is going, because most people don't have a budget. You know, and writing it down on an envelope, that's not a budget, right? So this is a budget, right? So this is making sure you're abiding by the 60, 20, 20 or 20, 60, 20 rule. And so you know what your fixed expenses are, right? So you get, you know, back in the days, you dealt with cash. Right now, everything is debit, right? And you can just swipe, you know, give that number and, you know, it's transactional. So the money envelope concept is, let me take control of my finances. I'm not doing a good job of tracking what I'm spending because it's so easy for me to use the plastic. So you take some cash, and you put it in the envelope and you label every envelope, right? So, okay, for instance, and this is like, you might not do this again because we don't deal with cash like we used to, especially now. So you put, hey, I want to save for vacation. Okay. So you put money in that envelope. I want to save for, you know, 1 to 2 months of savings. You put money in that envelope. So whatever is important to you, you put money away in that envelope. Okay. That way that money doesn't get commingled with something else and you end up spending it. So based upon your goals, you come up, you have these envelopes, you write on the outside what it's for, and you stuff it. Every time you get paid, you stuff that envelope. And you might have 10, 15, 20 envelopes out there, but you're tracking that way. Now, ideally, should the money be in the bank? Yes. Right? Ideally, should the money be invested? Yes. But this is just another way to help you track money and work those, you know, those savings muscle, right? Until you get to that point. Hopefully that answered the question. Yeah, and somebody said, do you put in a bank security box? Any way that you can hide money for yourself, that's a, you know, it's a good strategy. Where you put it in your backyard, you know, under the mattress, right? Again, if somebody's on here that's at a bank, is like, what does he tell them to do? Yes, you want money in the bank, drawing interest. Yes, you want money invested, but just a strategy to just get yourself started. That's great. You know, I remember grandma used to have money all over the place throughout the house. She'll hide money for herself. And when somebody needed money, guess what? She had money. Yeah, shoebox. Daryl, remember the shoebox. Yep. All right, so we talked about refinancing. We're going to talk about life insurance later. So financial security. What does that mean to you? Financial security, we have some definitions on wealth building. Just think about it. For most people, it means when I lay down at night, and if I don't wake up in the morning, my family's okay. For others, it means if I lose my job, then I have 6 months of expenses. I'm okay. I get runway. If something happens, unfortunately, to a loved one, we can continue our lifestyle. My kids and I are okay. So financial security has different meanings to different people. So it comes back down to individualized meaning, individualized plan. So let's look at some concepts. So as far as financial planning is concerned, 7 out of 10 people say their financial plan needs improvement. 22% of Americans are very confident that they understand how to build financial security. That's not a lot. That's not a lot. And then 32% have a financial advisor. So I want to pause here and get some and give some feedback. I got into the business because, again, I wanted to change the face of wealth. I wanted to awake the sleeping giant. Oftentimes, I have a very diverse client base. Oftentimes, folks from the community don't seek out financial advisor. And I'm going to we're going to play a guessing game. Why don't they seek out a financial advisor, right? So just like everybody should have a doctor, right? Right? And do their health check every year. Everybody should have a financial advisor. I believe that. Every single body should have a financial advisor, okay? So what's your guess why people don't have a financial advisor? And there's just your guess. Not a right or wrong answer. No money? Okay. Can't afford one? Lack of knowledge? Too expensive? Ah, Ruben. Yeah. Taboo. You're not going to talk about my money. You know, you're not going to see what's under the hood here. These are really good, by the way. Well, so the folks that say, hey, how does a financial advisor help you if you have no money to advise on? Right? I got to have money first. Well, what I tell people is this. If you don't have any money, right, and you work, you need a financial advisor, right? So I tell people that we work with the wealthy as well as the not yet wealthy. Okay. And so a financial advisor can help you create wealth by showing you where your money is going. So creating a budget, creating a plan. So I'm going to challenge you all that if there's somebody who don't have money, knows somebody who money, like I don't need a financial advisor. If you're working, earning money, then you should have a financial advisor. Now, caveat is there are some firms, unless you have a certain amount of money, they don't want to talk to you. There are some firms that have, in order to do a financial plan, it costs $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a year. Okay. I got into business. I had the firm here. When I first started, I was only actually one other so-called African American. So now there's about 5 to 7. And we're in the community. We're in the community educating, exonerating, helping. So I want to challenge that. If you don't have, and again, there's some advisors who, you're right, they won't work with you, but I want to extend the olive branch, extend a hand. We can help you. The other thing that's on here is how do you select a financial advisor? What about fiduciary? So fiduciary means somebody who is acting in the best interest of the client, right? So you definitely want to know if they're fiduciaries. That's important. How do you select one? Choosing a financial advisor, choosing somebody to talk about money for people is very important. So I think trust is important. So what I would say, go off a referral, right? So, hey, do you have a financial advisor, Dr. Johnson? Judge, you got a financial advisor? Who's your financial advisor? So go through a referral because they already vetted that person, right? And they're not going to refer you to anybody that's not good. So go off a referral and then meet with that financial advisor, right? It's just like anything else, coach, or you guys might have different personalities. You might not feel comfortable, right, with that person. So meet with them, have a conversation, go over your goals, and you can tell really quickly if they're about your goals or about theirs. So use a referral, meet with the person, evaluate them, interview them, right? Yeah, and there's some people that say I can do it myself. Absolutely, right? There are some astute people. Here's what I say. I've been in business over a decade, and I sat down with some very wealthy people. I'm always able to find one or two ideas to help that person. So even if you are a do-it-yourselfer, that's fine. I would say just sit down and do a double check, right? So you think about corporations, they're doing audit, things like that. They're making sure that they're not missing something because you don't know what you don't know. Yeah, feel like we'll cheat them. You're right. Yep. So that's trust. That's why it's important to use a referral. Don't want to expose their finances, right? So it's like going to Dr. Johnson, right? She's not going to judge you. She's going to help you. She's there to help. So same thing with the financial advisor. We should be here to help, not judge. Too expensive. Again, you can't afford one. Those are things that you can overcome. So thanks for sharing that. Everybody should have a financial advisor, right? All right, so 1 in 4 people stated that the #1 roadblock to financial planning was a lack of time, right? And so if you think about it, there's a lot of priorities. We're juggling a lot of priorities. We got career, we got church, we got family, we got this, we got that. And so a lot of times things get put on the back burner. Usually doing a financial plan gets put on the back burner. And so that's why it's important to have some expert guidance. The analogy that I use is if you know, all of us would like to lose a couple of pounds here and there, right? You can go to a gym and you can figure it out on your own, right? You can look around and kind of figure things out on your own. But if you have somebody there that's an expert in your body kinetics, how to use the weights and how that translates to your goals and to hold you accountable, to challenge you along the way, encouraging you, you get there quicker. So that's why it's important to have an expert guidance. All right. So here's the thing I want to share with everybody, because we saw this with the recent pandemic. We saw this in 2008. We saw this in 2000, right? And that's why the stimulus is playing an important role in a lot of people's lives. You should have 6 times your monthly expenses accessible in an account, right? It might not be one account, might be a different account. What that means is you lose your job leave you. Then you have 6 months of living expenses. It used to be 3. After the Great Recession, people were out of work for a year. You probably know some people that was out of work for a year. So we want you to have an e-fund, all right? This is not a savings fund. This is not a vacation fund. This is not a Christmas fund. This is separate. We want you to have 6 times your monthly expenses. How would you feel if you had 6 times your monthly expenses liquid that you can access? Wouldn't that be a good feeling? Wouldn't you feel secure? That's what we want you to have. All right, something else I want to talk about. Here's some threats to financial security and becoming disabled, having a long-term care event, or a loved one dying. It happens, right? It happens. So here's the most common disabilities that we see, so that clients have and that we have claims for: heart condition, stroke, cancer, back problems, pregnancy complications. So for those who are working, I want you to put in the chat, what percent, if you were to go out on long-term disability, whether you're a business owner or you work for somebody, what percent of your income is covered after 90 days? So this is opportunity to go to the chat. What percent of your income is covered long-term? If you don't know, just put a question mark.
Hey, DeShawn, are you talking about disability?
Yeah, long-term disability.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you can't work, where does the money come from? You can't earn an income. So long-term disability, so after certain days, not short-term, but what percent of your income is covered? If you can add it to the chat. And if you don't know, just put, or you work for yourself. Okay. All right, so we're getting 67%, 65%, 100%, not sure, 60%. There we go. 0, 55. All right, most employers only cover 60%, and that's a taxable benefit. Some employers cover 70, some you can buy up. So what happens if 60% of your, if 40% of your income go away, right? You get 60% covered now. What happens if 40% of your income go away? What would you cut out? What stops? What continues? For most people, that math doesn't work. For me, that math doesn't work. I have to go home and tell my wife, and hey, guess what? No more Amazon Prime. Right? That wouldn't be a good conversation. So the point is, you want to know this because, you know, things happen. And so part of financial security is being offensive as well as defensive. Offensive is saving for retirement, saving for future goals. That's offensive. Defensive is protecting your assets, right? So think of it as this way. If you have a ATM that's printing money in your garage, you want some insurance on that thing, because if it's not working anymore, you want that, you know, you want it up and running. So same thing with you. You are the money maker, right? You want to make sure that your income is protected. I've seen it. I've seen it where people have an unexpected illness that's long term, and now their situation changed. So we have insurance on our homes, our cars, even cell phones. I have insurance plan on my cell phone. So you should have insurance on your income as well. Make sense? Long-term care. We're going to spend some time talking about long-term care. This is a huge topic moving forward, because thanks to Western medicine, thanks to Dr. Johnson, people are living longer. And with people living longer, more people are needing care. So we're going to talk about this. Life insurance. We're going to talk about life insurance as well. All right, just some statistics for you all. This is actually encouraging. So if somebody 65 years old and no health condition, there's a 50% chance they'll make it to 88 plus. Okay, that's a man. For the females, same scenario, 65 years old, there's a 50% chance you'll make it to 90. Now, for the married people, you're gonna really like this one. If you're married, 50% of chance that one of them will live beyond the age of 94. And if you had to guess, is that male or female? Go to the chat, male or female? Who's living to be 94? Female, yeah, you're right. Yep, female, female, female. How fair is that? So that's pretty good, right? So that's pretty good that life expectancy is going up, right? But having said that, that puts stresses on retirement savings because you need more money. You want your money to last longer, but you also need to make sure if there's a health condition that you're covered as well. All right, we'll talk about that later. All right, I'm going to show you a couple of strategies here. So there are 7 wonders of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to introduce the 8th wonder world to you. That's called compound interest. That's when your money make money and you make money on your interest, and it has a compound effect. So watch this. Let's watch this. For those who have children, I want you to convey this message to them. So you're investor A, B, or C. So we got three scenarios. Investor A, right? That's in the gold or yellow. Investor B, that's in the green. Investor C. So investor A was prudent with their finances. They say, hey, I'm going to save 20%. I'm going to save it early. So they started at 25, and then they invested over time. So in fact, $100 a month. So nothing magical, just $100 a month at a decent rate of return. They had $208,000 at age 65. So investor B said, hey, I'm going to wait for a perfect day to save. Let me wait till I get married, wait till I have this and that, right? So they waited. They delayed saving.
Hey, DeShawn, there's a request to zoom in or make the screen larger.
Okay. Let's see. I'm actually on, let me do this.
Yeah, that's good.
That's better? Okay. So what I might do is just leave it like this instead of putting it in presentation mode. Okay. That's better? Okay. So we got investor A, B, investor C. Investor A started at 25. Okay, started at 25, invested $100 per month. And when they get to age 65, they had $208,000. Investor B waited to age 35. Hey, I want to pay off some student loans and do some other stuff. So 35, same thing, they invest $100. They had $106,000 at age 65. Investor C was waiting for a perfect day to save. That perfect day never came. And then they get closer to 50, 60, okay, we need to catch up. So they invested $100. They had about $50,000. So which one was a prudent investor? Investor A, B, or C? A, right? So investor A was a prudent investor. Now, you say, well, okay, I'm 40 now. What can I do? All is not lost. Or even if you're 50, it's never too late. Never too late. All it means is you just have to save more, right? More than $100 a month in order to make this work now. But you can go back and talk to your children. And you can talk to your grandkids. Or you can save in accounts for them and get them that head start. So it's never too late. Never too late.
Hey, DeShawn, before you go further, there were a couple of questions, good questions, a couple minutes ago.
Okay.
What's the difference between a financial advisor and an investor? Are they the same thing, or do they do the same thing? And how do they get paid?
Yeah. Very good question. Yeah, in principle, they do the same thing. So financial representative, financial advisor, I'm a wealth management advisor. So we essentially do the same thing, right? Here's some subtle differences. An investment advisor, they focus more on the wealth accumulation side. Give me your money and I'm going to manage it for you, right? So they're not necessarily doing a holistic or comprehensive financial plan. They're all about wealth building. They're all about investments. That's an investment advisor. A financial advisor, and even a wealth management advisor, we look at the big picture. Not only do we want to help you accumulate wealth, we want you to protect it. So there's all the insurances, right? So the life insurance, the long-term disability insurance, the long-term care insurance. So we go above and beyond just give me the money, let me invest it for you. We do a comprehensive financial plan. We help you accumulate the wealth as well as protect the wealth. Okay. So again, investment advisor, wealth, that manages the money. We get financial advisor, wealth management advisor that's looking at a comprehensive plan. Okay. How do you get paid? Depending upon what firm you go to, it's going to be a different answer. Some firms out there, and I'm not going to mention their name because I'm not saying anything bad with it, but unless you have $250,000 worth of assets, they won't even talk to you. In order to have access to them, $250,000 asset, and they're fee-based. You're going to pay them a fee every year to have access to their investment advice, as well as they're going to get commissions on how well the account performs. Those are called fee-based advisors. At my firm, we can do fee-based advisors, just like I described, but most of us are paid. So in order to generate your financial plan, the cost to you is zero. For us to give you investment advice, the cost is zero. For us to sit down with you, the cost is zero, right? But we got to get paid, right? So here's how we get paid. We get paid if you implement, based on your financial plan, any insurance or investments, we get commissions on the back end of that. So it's built into your overall plan.
One other question is, can a financial advisor help with tax strategies?
That's a good question. And so how I would answer that question is yes, but in concert with your tax advisor. We can't hold ourselves out as a tax advisor, so we work in the same sandbox as your tax advisor, as your CPA, who are preparing your taxes. But we're very familiar with tax saving strategies, so we can help you with that. But again, we're going to work in conjunction with your CPA or your tax advisor. So we're not preparing taxes, but we're working together with your CPA. So thanks for that. All right, so, all right, I think we should park here. So on giving, so can everybody see the screen? If not, I'll go back to the presentation mode. Because I know this is important to you all, right? So I want to give. I have a heart to give. I want to give to the church, want to give to charity. So that's part of the plans. That's part of the planning. And in fact, when you free up debt and you have more to save, then you also have more to give. So that's part of the overall strategy. And there's different strategies out there on how to give to charitable organizations. So if you're at that point, then we above and beyond past your tithes, we can talk about that. All right, a couple of minutes on investing. So investing is taking your money and putting it to the market, right? And the issue with that is sometimes folks are concerned with putting money in the market because they are concerned that they may lose money. Here's how the performance of a typical portfolio looks like. It's very volatile. It goes up and down, but over time it goes up. I'm going to show you some statistics on that. So you have to have a confidence that, yes, I can lose money, but I have a goal, I have a plan, work with somebody to help manage and talk through it. But over time, compound interest is going to work in my favor. So here's some statistics. And you can't see the screen, but I'll point it out. From 1926 to 2019, this is the stock market. So this is the S&P 500. So S&P 500 is when you turn on the TV, the stock market is up, stock market is down. This is what they're talking about. They're talking about S&P 500. So you see some blips here, right? So you got 2018, the red line right here. If you look at my pointer, you see this big blip here. This is 2008. Everybody remember 2008, the Great Recession. The market was down by almost 40%, right? 2000, that's .com. So there's some scary moments in here. There's some scary moments. But the market was positive, or you got a return on your money or your portfolio if you invested 73% of the time. So looking at actual data, right? Although the market is volatile, the majority of the time, the market is favorable. So should we be concerned with volatility? Maybe. But should we be less concerned with volatility? Probably less, because the data shows that with the right investment strategy, asset allocation, the market is typically positive. I'll show you some more data. So this is 5-year annualized returns. So the way you look at this is, let's say Dr. Zelda Johnson, Judge Johnson give $1,000 to invest on their behalf. And they say, hey, DeShawn, I'm concerned with volatility. I don't want to lose any money. It's like, well, you probably shouldn't be investing. But having said that, if we look at 5-year annualized return, the market is positive 87% of the time. Okay. And then let's go to 15-year. So, hey, I don't need this money for 15 years. This is for retirement. This is for my kids' education. The market is positive 100% of the time. So all I'm saying to you all is what they're showing you on TV is to invoke emotion. The market's down. Should I buy? Should you sell? Here's the top 5 stocks. But the data shows that the market is very efficient. So my challenge to you, for those folks who are concerned about the market, concerned about losing money, become aware, right? Let's educate you. But the reality is that there's folks that's in the market, they're making money. They're making higher rate of return versus keeping it in a savings account versus keeping it underneath their mattress. So I want to pause there. And maybe this group, this is not a concern, but I want to pause there and, you know, any feedback, any thoughts about the market? Would you say you're an emotional investor or unemotional? So if you go to the chat, let's see what you guys come up with. Let me go to the chat. Where is the chat? Okay, no emotion, not emotion. There you go. Okay, good. Good. All right, so a couple of questions here. How do you work with Fed employees with thrift savings plan? I know the TSP like the back of my hand. And I know first, so if you're a federal employee, then there's a federal employee retirement system. I know that as well. So I work with a lot of federal employees. So how I do that is it's part of the planning, right? So a lot of times people say, oh, I got a retirement plan. It's like, what is that? I get a 401k through my job. That's not a plan. That's a vehicle that you're using that's going to help you achieve your retirement goals, but that's not a plan. So what we do is we take a look at, do we do Roth TSP, right? Pay taxes up front and don't have any taxes on the back end? Do we do pre-tax, by the way, because the TSP matches 5%? That's the bottom line. We want to make sure we're taking advantage of that. And what are some other strategies? You know, what does your asset allocation look like for that? Are you in the G fund? Are you in the I fund? So we can talk about the TSP all day. Do you think a person should continue to invest and draw from their portfolio or put it all in annuity for retirement? Yeah, so short story is it depends on the person, right? I don't think it's a cookie cutter method, but Jay Panther, I don't know you. Here'll be my answer to that. My answer would be based upon that person, but here's some general principles. The general principle is in retirement, you have fixed expenses. Then you have variable expenses. For the fixed expenses, you want a guaranteed stream of income. Social Security being one, right? Again, I mean, for the younger folks, forget about it. But folks that's getting close to retirement, that's going to be part of your fixed guaranteed income. That's going to cover your fixed expenses. If you have a pension, God bless you. That's awesome, right? That's another guaranteed stream of income. Let's say that when we look at your guaranteed income stream, it doesn't cover your fixed expenses. If it doesn't, then we want to add an annuity to your portfolio because we want a guaranteed stream of income. We want you to know January 1, when you wake up, you look in your bank account, you're going to have that money in your bank account to cover your fixed expenses. And there's an Ernst & Young, J Panther 3. There's a study that I can send you that shows retirement is strengthened by annuity plus cash out of life insurance policy. So I believe everybody should have, for the most part, have an annuity as part of their retirement strategy for guaranteed stream of income. But how much should you put in annuity? It's going to vary. There's not too many scenarios where I see somebody put all of their income into that, but a good portion. What are your thoughts on buying land as an asset? I like it. That should be part of the portfolio. So they're not making any, guys not making more land that I'm aware of, right? So maybe on Mars, other planets, but here on Earth. So and then you want to make sure that this land has some type of value, that it's going to grow as an asset, whether you build upon it, build a house on it, or you're going to sell it. You want to make sure it depreciates. So any asset, you want to make sure it's an appreciating asset. So yes, land, but not swamp land, right? You want to buy the right land. All right. So since we did that, let's kind of talk about, when people talk about, hey, I got money, I was like, what is it for? What are we doing? We're buying a vacation home. And then give me more details. I want to dream with you. Show me, is it a beach? Is it how many bedrooms? What are we investing for? So we always talk about what's the goal for investing. So since you guys are pretty astute, I won't go through this, but there's different asset classes and they react differently to the market. So you got stocks, you got fixed income, you got bonds. I won't go into, for sake of time, I won't go into details on this, but here's what I want to show you. This accounts for 90% of the return on your portfolio. It's not what asset class you choose. It's not the market that you choose or the stock you choose. It's your asset allocation. So are you aggressive, right? Or conservative? This determines your return. And then as you get closer to retirement, think about the folks that retired in 2008, that was an aggressive portfolio. Their portfolio went down by 40% versus the folks that were in a conservative portfolio, they had shock absorbers, they had fixed income. So let's do something real quick. I'm gonna come out here and I want to show this to you real quick. All right, take a look at this real quick. So I want you to go to the chat again, and I'm going to insert something here. I'm going to hide something real quick, shape. So looking at 2005, and you have $10,000. Well, let's say you have $1,000. Which asset class would you invest in? International emerging, commodities, real estate, international developed, U.S. mid cap, diversified, U.S. small cap, large cap, fixed income. Which one would you invest in? So international emerging market did 34% in 2005, 21% commodities, 13%. Let me blow this up even more. So if you can put in the chat, which one would you invest in? Fixed income did 2%, U.S. large cap did 4.9. You're an investor. Which one would you invest in? Diversified, U.S. Okay, real estate, international emerging. Real estate, diversified, commodities, whatever Dennis says. Dennis is our resident expert. Sonia said, hey, diversified. Okay, all right, cool. Here we go. Let's take a look at this. This is actually pretty cool. I like sharing this. So at the top, it's a quilt. So this is the biggest I can get here. At the top, this shows 2005 to 2019. Okay. So international emerging, the folks who chose that, 2005, 2006, 2007, they're bragging about their portfolio. Look at me, look how smart I am. What happened in 2008? So 2008, what happened to international merging in 2008? It lost 53%. So they're not telling their friends about their portfolio anymore. They get really quiet that year. And then again, and so the point is that you can't time the market. That's what they tell you on TV. That's the books they sell. Here's the top three asset classes you should own in your portfolio. Here's the top five stocks. You can't you can't time it. So whoever said diversified portfolio, look at diversified portfolio. It has the lowest standard deviation. It's the most predictable. It's not sexy. It's not going to do 20, 30, 80% like some of the asset classes, but over time it's something that you can count on. So the moral of the story is having a diversified portfolio is going to help you predict your financial future versus chasing what the market or chasing what they're telling you on TV. Okay. Hopefully that was helpful. If there's any questions, just let me know. I'm going to keep going here. All right, I want to show this example.
Actually, before you go for, there was a question. At what age do you switch or add an annuity?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I find my clients, it really depends how much they have. So the majority of them do it right before, right at retirement. So we do wealth accumulation. And then before they retire, we do a financial plan and we look at, okay, what's your fixed expenses? What are your sources of guaranteed streams of income? Then at that point in time, we talk about the annuity. But you can do it before there. But the majority of the time is right before retirement or right at retirement, because we have a picture of what retirement looks like. But I have an annuity, right? I'm not retired. Why? Because I don't have a pension, so I want to build that in. I wanted a guaranteed stream of income, so I have annuity before retirement. There's some clients that will get an annuity early as well. So it really depends on an individual, but majority of the time is right at retirement. So I want to show you all this again, the power of compounding, right? So this is the general theme, starting early, putting some money in the market, because not necessarily saying your goal is to be a millionaire, but you can be one. Right? I want my kids to be a millionaire, and healthy and spiritual, all this other stuff, but I want them to have money. I want them to have financial security. I want them to be debt free. So you get them saving early. So what if I do a $6,000 annual investment in a Roth IRA? So this is a strategy for those who already have great wealth. You can talk to your kids and your grandkids, right? Or you can, if they're working, you can start a Roth for them. We can talk about that. So let's say you maximize a Roth. This is the current contribution that you can put into an IRA. So $6,000 a year. All right. So $6,000 a year starting at 25. They invested $240,000. They have $1 million at retirement. Right. So they're going to have a great retirement, right? In addition to other savings, and they can pass some of that down and keep it going, generational wealth. We're talking about building generational wealth. All right, let's say that you start a little later. Okay, you start a little later. 25, 40. Oh, I don't like the scenario. So this person started at 40. Investor A started at 40. They invested 150. They got 369,000. So that's a big difference between 1 million and 370,000. So the point is that, again, it's never too late to start. Just start, but communicating, building that legacy, communicating to your children, making sure they're sitting down with a financial advisor and they're starting early and they're growing their wealth. That talks about dividend reinvestment. All right. I'm going to talk about retirement for a couple of minutes, and I'm going to talk about estate planning, and then I'm going to leave about 10 minutes for questions. So I think we're coming up on 12:30. I want to be respectful of everybody's time. 67% of Americans believe there is some chance they'll outlive their savings. When I talk about retirement for folks, they got two goals. One, what's my number? I don't want to outlive my money. And then two, what does legacy mean to me? You know, what should I do there? So when before retirement, we're talking about accumulating funds, and then we pull that lever. Once you retire, we're talking about how to distribute those funds. So which buckets to pull from? We build a very tax efficient portfolio, and we figure out which buckets to pull from. And that's going to help the money last over time. That decumulation strategy, what we call it. I'm skipping ahead now. Watch this scenario. So let's say somebody had $500,000 and it was 50% stocks and bonds. And they're taking money out starting 1973. So this is what happened to their $500,000. They're taking money out to live, right? 1973, 1993. What happened in 1993? They ran out of money. They outlived their money. So having the proper asset allocation, the right strategy, understanding what's your number, making sure it's tax efficient is very important. So here's some risks to retirement market, right? So that's the volatility, living too long, longevity. That's why long-term care is important. Inflation and taxes, right? So do you put money in a Roth 401k or pre-tax 401k, healthcare costs, and then leaving a legacy? I'm skipping over some stuff here. We talked about that. For those who was asking about annuity, again, it's all about guaranteed income, right? Not having your money in that roller coaster, the market's down, you're in retirement. You want to make sure you feel secure in retirement. You built this engine, it's what you want. So there's strategies to make sure between pensions, Social Security, here's the annuity, you have a guaranteed stream of income. And like you say, you can take some of the 401k dollars, IRA, not all of it, Roth dollars, and put it into an annuity. I'm skipping through this. One thing I do want to share with you all, because a lot of times people say, hey, Medicare, I get 65, I'm good. Well, not exactly. There are some out-of-pocket health expenses. So when we do retirement planning, we account for that. Really depend upon your health. So the statistics show that if you're excellent health, you're paying about every year about $4,500 a year out of pocket. Poor health, it can be $14,000. So Medicare doesn't cover everything. Medicaid does. Most of you on this call won't qualify for Medicaid, and I won't go through that. I did want to show this long-term care costs. Here's what long-term care. Let's look at a nursing home in 2015. It was about $100,000 a year. In 2045, they're projecting a nursing home to be $431,000 a year. So we better have a good long-term care strategy, right? The kids, grandkids, or have long-term care insurance. So you want to make sure you got a good strategy there, long-term care.
DeShawn, there's a question. Because long-term insurance is so expensive for an older person, what do you think of an investment portfolio for this purpose, since most expenses are used later in life?
Yeah, that's a great question. I did scenarios and we did studies. It's really tough because what you're asking is self-insure. So let me put money in the market and let me invest that, and then I'm going to use that for long-term care. The scenarios that I've seen, and I can literally run it, you know, if I'm sitting down with somebody, okay, how much you think about investing? Okay, let's look at that versus long-term care. It always wins to get the insurance. And here's the reason why. It's always better to use somebody else's money. When, you know, if you have kids, that's a strategy that they employ every day. right? They're using somebody else's money. They're not using theirs. So when from a risk management perspective, auto insurance, could you instead of having homeowners insurance, could you have a side fund, invest, and then if your house burned down, if there's issue storm, then you use that? Maybe it depends how long you have to save. For most people, that doesn't work. But paying a premium, you pay a small premium, and then you pass that risk to the insurance company, and now you have this benefit. That's efficient use of your dollars. So I will agree. If you're older, long-term care is very expensive, but the counter is very expensive. So if you're paying $120,000 a year at your retirement portfolio, that's very expensive. So strategies that I've seen head-to-head is better to always get the insurance. And by the way, you can right-size it. You might not get the full benefit. You might cut it in half, so it can be affordable. But strategies of using insurance and using somebody else's dollars is generally the way to go versus trying to self-insure. So life insurance, real quick. I just want to talk about life insurance. There's two types. Sometimes people say, hey, I did research and I hear you don't do whole life. Some other people, I did research, do term. At the end of the day, it really comes down to what your goals are. So there's not a one-size-fits-all strategy for everybody. So term, you're renting the insurance just like you have to your employer. Eventually goes away, just like renting an apartment. It's not meant to be long-term. Whole life or permanent is owning a home. It has equity. You can pull money from it. So my clients put about 5% of the income into whole life, right? Not all of it, but at least 5%. And it builds cash value. You can use it for education. You can borrow against it, things like that. Okay. I'm going to keep going here because I want to be respectful of time. And, the only thing I would say about long-term care, here's some statistics on long-term care. 37% of people currently receiving long-term care, if you look at the claims, these are actual claims, are under the age of 65. Because there's a thought process out there, hey, let me wait till I get older to get long-term care. No, because you might not qualify for it. You might can't afford it when you're older. But look at this, 37% of people less than the age 65 is not old person's insurance, right? So that should be part of your overall financial plan. And it covers all the costs. It covers in-home care. This is most of the people want to maintain their dignity, nursing home, assisted living facility. So here's a strategy. Here's a scenario, right? So no long-term care event. This person had $4 million in assets. Life is good to 90. They passed down a legacy. There's an actual long-term care event. It exhausted. They ran out of money at age 86. When they're older, that's not when you want to run out of money. You can't work, can't earn additional income. And then, by the way, you can't pass on a legacy. So the point is that if you don't have long-term care, you should really consider, at least do the cost-benefit analysis, right? Do I try to self-insure versus pass that risk on? Look at this. Caregivers estimate that more than 1/3 of their monthly budget goes toward caregiving. My grandfather, 10-year long-term care event, fortunate to have Medicaid, but mom was there taking care of them. So 1/3 of the budget, right? So when you talk about financial plan and you look at your parents and things like that, if they don't have long-term care, this could be a scenario for you, that a lot of your money, or if you don't get long-term care, 1/3 of your kids, and maybe say, hey, that's fine, they owe me, but you really don't want to be on their payroll for that. Last thing I want to talk about, estate plan, because this other thing, just like, hey, I don't have enough money to have a financial advisor. If you're working, you don't have money, then you definitely need a financial advisor. Same thing here. It's not for the wealthy, right? Everybody should have a estate plan. And so here's some basics, right? So if you owe the 18, and think about your kids, a healthcare directive, they should have that, right? Most people don't. So if you don't know a good estate planning attorney, I'm sure Alex Taylor knows a couple. I know a couple as well. But yeah, here's the things you should have: healthcare directive, durable power of attorney, durable power of attorney of finances. I'm just going through this pretty quickly. have your wills, all your documents updated, right? So the worst thing I hear when things happen, people running around trying to figure out what to do. And if you don't have one, somebody's going to write one for you. So you might as well write one for yourself. And everybody should have a will, right? Not everybody need a trust, but everybody should have a will. And by the way, 40% of Americans, 76 of Americans said, I definitely think I should have one. 40% do. So a lot of folks, if you don't have one, most people don't. If you have kids, you should definitely have a will, trust, advanced medical directive, and all your designation, your beneficiary. Seen situations where not so good things happen, and there's kids, and it's a mess because they didn't take the time to put it in, in writing. So you want to make sure that isn't that a beautiful picture, a beautiful family? You want to make sure that you have it in place. It doesn't mean something's going to happen to you. There's some taboo when it comes to money. There's taboo when it comes to will. You talk about your death. We all know that, there are two things that's going to happen: death and taxes. Unless you guys know something I don't know. So we got to plan for it. We got to plan for taxes. We got to plan for this. And yeah, you can do it yourself like anything else, or you can work with a professional. All right. So the last thing, I'll actually leave it there. So it's 12:30. I want to be respectful of time. Are there any questions? Let me look at the chat real quick. Stop share. Are there any questions? So what questions? So what questions do we have? So I'm gonna leave this up.
If anybody's asking a question, you have to unmute yourself. Don't forget that.
Yeah. So questions, and then, yeah. So do you offer a seminar with more? Absolutely, right? So again, I asked a question at the beginning. What do you all want to spend time on? So I try to hit everything, but individual presentations, we can do that. So I'm here to help. If you see the information here, feel free to, let me just share this real quick. Feel free to write down. Actually, let me put my cell phone here. I'm going to give you my personal cell. That's my work number. Here's my cell, 263-1474. So this is my cell. Feel free. Again, this is, since you asked, this is not a solicitation. We're here to help. If you have any questions, that's my cell. Just text me information, or you can email me. And let me go to the chat here.
There's a question about your thoughts on cryptocurrency.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite. Here's how I answer that. As a fiduciary, as a financial advisor, Northwestern Mutual won't even allow us to offer that to our clients. And the reason for that is speculative. It's new, right? In fact, no one knows who created cryptocurrency. I don't believe that, but that's the word out in the street. There's not too many things you can create in the world or America, and people don't, the government don't know who created it. That's not a conspiracy theorist comment. But there's so much unknown about cryptocurrency. It's not regulated. So most investments out there it's on a self-regulating body. So something, it's audited. If there's bad behavior, you're fine. There's fiduciary requirements. For cryptocurrency, there are not. So I would consider that to be a speculative investment. Speculative investment. So speculative investment is like IPO, so initial public offerings, cryptocurrency. Then there's risky investment. Risky investment is your typical IRA, 401k, mutual funds, right? 529 accounts. And then there's safe, right? Safe is CDs, bank, cash value, things like that. So I'll tell people that, hey, listen, if you exhausted all your goals and all your buckets and you have some money you want to gamble, go for it. I don't own any, right? As a fiduciary, I have to let you know that I don't own any, but a lot of my clients, they're on one of these apps and they own some. I wouldn't put all of it in there, but if you want to put some, see what happens, just like IPO, you have some extra money. But the challenge I would do is not a get rich quick, because I do have people call me and they don't have, they're not debt free. They still get credit card debt. they're not saving or maximize their retirement. And then they're asking me, hey, should I put $1,000 in cryptocurrency? Like, no, you should pay off your credit cards, you know, you should get insurances, you know, you should have 6 months of savings, right? This is not a path to get rich. But again, if you exhausted all you checked up everything on the list and you want to invest in cryptocurrency, go for it. But I'm not an investor. Do I think eventually it will be more mainstream? Yes, right. The Federal Reserve right now is working on their own variety of it. So we'll be mainstream. Will it be too late? No, I don't think so. But that answers that question. There's another question.
CD or money markets, which is better?
Yeah, I'll be honest. And the person at the bank might have a different opinion. I agree. I'm not a fan of CDs, right? So, and the reason for that is the interest rate's so low. The Federal Reserve have pushed interest rates low and long. So, you know, giving somebody money for 2, 3 years, 5 years, and getting, you know, 1 to 2% is not attractive to me. Not attractive to my high net worth clients. So we don't do a lot of CDs. And then you pay interest on the gain. So tying that money up that long period of time doesn't excite me. Money market funds, you know, again, you get more liquidity there. Interest rates are still low. You still fight that problem. But as far as your 6 months emergency fund savings, I'm okay with having some money in money market. But then there's some other vehicles that we want to look at as well. We want our money making money. So it's either man or woman at work or money at work. So we want to show you how to put your money at work.
Another question is when should you take out Social Security? If you take it at 62, is it smart to reinvest?
Yeah. So I rarely have clients who take money Social Security at 62. Again, it's not a bad thing if you do. It's your money. Some people say, hey, I want my money now. I'm not sure how long I live, but it's very rare. Most people want to maximize their Social Security. So it's very common. The majority of my clients do it at full retirement age. Right now, it's 66 and a half or 67. That's what in our plans, that's what we're planning on. I do have some clients that did a really good job of saving. They're going to wait to 70, right? So from full retirement age, every year that you wait to age 70, then it's an 8% adder to your benefit. So it's huge. So I get clients who waited to 70 and they call me, hey, DeShawn, any of your clients that can wait to take Social Security, make sure that they wait, right? And so here's what I'm seeing. Majority of my clients do it at full retirement age. That's what I recommend. That's what I plan. If you stuffed a lot of money away for retirement, you can wait to 70, go for it. Or you're going to work longer, right? Some, you know, like a lot of doctors work to age 70, right? You can work longer than, you know, take it to age 70. Not many people take it at 62 unless they have to. They didn't do you know, the best job at saving. They got to start late in saving for whatever reason. They're retired now. They need source of income, so they're taking it at 62. So I'm not a fan of that, but full retirement age to 70, I'm a big fan.
Also, there's a question. Will we get a copy of your presentation from today with the worksheets? Do you have the worksheets available?
Yeah. I get the budget. I can send all the worksheets. Yep, I can do that.
Oh, and post this to our website.
Yeah, we're going to post a link to the presentation on our website. So that will be available. Also, another question, well, actually, Gwen Davis made a statement, rates are low, so you're not making much on bank products. Flip side, low rates on lending as well.
Yeah, so good point, right? So if back to what Dr. Judge Johnson said, so refinancing, right? The rates are low, so you're not making a lot of money on bank products, but hey, you can go to bank and get a lower interest rate on your home mortgage or on if you have credit card debt, right? And it's 20, you can recast that debt and go to a 0% APR. So yeah, there are some strategies, or take a home equity line of credit and do something with it. So great point, Gwen. Rates are low, so the flip side is, you know, that's an opportunity for you.
And Sean, there's been a bunch of compliments. Your knowledge is obvious, has benefited all of us. And there's a wonderful presentation. You get a bunch of very favorable comments. That one was from Alex.
Well, that means a lot coming from Alex. I can tell you that, man. Yeah. Now, I really appreciate this. I mean, this is why, I mean, quite frankly, thanks for helping me fulfill my purpose. I'm very passionate. Like I said, I work with very diverse clients. I would say the community, we're behind. right? But what I'm doing is, as a head of director, I'm recruiting advisors into the firm, right? Because when I first started, I mean, it was all white males. I'll say that, and they were not going to the community. So if you know anybody who's looking for being a business owner, hard worker, has sales experience, they're passionate about helping people, that's pretty smart, I want to talk to them. I want to talk to them. Is it a good fit for them to be an advisor because you're a business owner? I don't know, but love to talk to them. So if you get children or grandkids, we also have internship program. So if you have grandkids or family members that's doing finance or whatever business administration in college, let me know. I can help get them an internship and see if this is a good fit for them. So we're growing the firm. We're very busy. But then the other side of that, we help with all the licenses. So, again, an engineer became a wealth management advisor. So we help you with the life health annuity license. We help you with the SIE Series 6, all your investment license. And then we pay for it if you want to go get a certified financial planner and all the different designations, we pay for that. So we help with that.
Well, DeShawn, on behalf of the Personal Finance Ministry and Third Street Bethel AME Church, thank you so much. And for everybody, when I introduced him, I said he was a wealth management advisor, and I said he was a leader in Northwest Mutual. He is actually the district director. So DeShawn, what is the district for Northwest Mutual that you oversee?
Yeah, so in the state of Virginia, there are several firms. There's a firm in Harrisonburg, Charlottesville, Richmond, right outside of Short Pump in Innsbruck. There's one in Williamsburg. There's one at the Virginia Beach, and there's Northwestern Mutual firms throughout the country. So I had the firm in Richmond, Virginia. So there's four, actually it used to be four, it's three so-called African Americans that had firms for Northwestern Mutual. Again, historically, the heads look different from myself. So there's three of us, right? So I had the one in Richmond, Virginia. So I'm responsible for the day-to-day operations, the recruiting, development of new advisors, helping maintain client accounts. And then, by the way, in half of my job also, I do financial planning. I have a financial planning team as well. So we stay pretty busy. And I'll say this, Dr. Johnson has invited me to these, on the way. So I'm really, really busy Monday through Friday, and then I'm catching up, chasing after my daughters who play, my oldest played basketball at University of Richmond. My wife and I have been married for 27 years. My oldest played basketball at University of Richmond. My youngest plays, she'll play at Rafford this year. So weekend, I'm chasing them and catching up with them. So I appreciate Dr. Johnson's persistent. I always intend, hey, I'll be there next weekend, and then I'm called to do something else. So thanks for that.
And DeShawn is almost as tall as me, so everybody knows how tall I am. That's why his girls are so skilled in basketball; they get the height from him. But I mean, that says something. When you think of Northwest Mutual, and I know everybody's heard that name in the Richmond area, he and his wife is the office manager, I believe. So that they are Northwest Mutual, and you see their sign and you think about them in the Richmond area. And he has a team of advisors. He keeps some clients, and he tells us that he's kept us as his clients, but he's the manager over there.
And he's doing a good job because we are building wealth.
Yes, he's really helped our situation. So I thank him, I thank him for his time. And DeShawn, like we do for all our presenters, we're going to send you a small gift. You will make sure you get that on behalf of the church.
Oh, appreciate that. Thank you.
Reverend,
but thanks for that. Yeah.
Reverend Boyd, was there any comments or words that you want to give at this time?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Judge. I would like to just and I put it in the chat on it's such a great presentation, and I'm sure we all found something that would help us. I know I did, and some things to think about. So I would like to thank Mr. Chapman for spending this time with us, and then thanks to you and Dr. Johnson for this personal finance ministry and thinking enough of all of us to lead this, and which has been a help for us. I know that I've learned things since this ministry has been in place. So thanks to the ministry and to Mr. Chapman and to all that came on today to spend this time with us. So thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. And I don't want to leave any questions out while we have DeShawn. I know we formally ended the meeting, but there are two questions from two different people on investment clubs that just came through. Thoughts on investment clubs and how we start a club. Any final brief thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm here to answer any questions. So as far as investment clubs is concerned, obviously as a registered advisor, I can't participate, and I know that's not the question. As a fiduciary, I'd like to know people what I cannot do, and what I'm doing. Right? I tell people all the time, here's what I'm doing, so you know why the basis of my recommendation. So I can't participate in any type of investment club. But having said that, you're asking for a friend. So having said that, Gwen, I think it's a good idea, right? So I heard, with anything, right? There can be good and there can be bad. I've heard some, getting together and talking about. I think we have to have conversations like this. We have to talk about money.
That's great.
Because I, on the golf course, when I talk with my wealthy clients, when I'm on the golf, we're talking about money. We're talking about Bitcoin. We're talking about investment. We're sharing of ideas, right? And sharing of thoughts, right? And I think that's good. And in our community, we got to come together and we got to talk about money, right? It's not taboo. Let's have conversation. If you don't know, say you don't know. Oh, tell me more about that. So that's the purpose of the investment club, is getting like-minded individuals, getting together and helping each other, educating one another, talking about things that's critically important. So I see the benefit of it, right? The downside, I heard, hey, this and that. So I don't want to get into the bad stuff, but we made bad investments. This person did this. So do everything with the right spirit, with the right heart. I think is okay. Coming together and us talking about money, I'm for it. I just can't participate.
And this literally just popped up. Do any of your staff host a club on Clubhouse? I don't know if that's an app or.
Yeah, Lori, if you can tell me more. So the answer would be no, because I don't even know what Clubhouse is. Yeah, I don't know.
We'll follow up with Lori and we'll follow up and get.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was on mute. It's an app. Unfortunately, it hasn't come out on Android, but if you do have an iPhone, you can join the app but by invitation only. I recently was invited to join, but it has everything from A to Z. It's a networking app as well as people who are entrepreneurs, investor, anything, and even the Bitcoin that someone was talking about earlier, or cryptocurrency someone was talking about earlier. But it is so many different clubs on there, but that you can listen in or get advice and just be a part of. So I was just wondering if you had any, even though you can't be on there, I was wondering if you had any staff that were hosting any, because it's a lot to filter through. So if you have someone, then I can just put their handle in and be able to pull it up. But that's what I was just wondering. So much good information today.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that, Lori, and thanks for, I always have to get up to speed with all the different apps from my daughters. But yeah, Clubhouse sounds like it's a good opportunity. And as a registered investment advisor, even myself, I had to let Northwestern Mutual know that I'm giving a seminar because it's heavily regulated. And I appreciate, how regulated it is. So I'll be surprised if any of my staff is on Clubhouse, because in order to advertise or share information, then I would have to approve it. We have to approve it because we want to make sure that we're representing the firm well, and we're going to talk to you about things that are regulated and that's in your best interest. So I'll do some offline research on Clubhouse because I'm kind of interested. I'm very curious and knowledgeable. So thanks for bringing that up.
I'll send you an invite. That way you can access it and be able to look through everything and go from there.
Okay, thanks for that, Laura.
You're welcome.
All right, the next meeting of the Personal Finance Ministry will be on Saturday, May 15th at 11 a.m. It'll be Zoom, as always during the pandemic. And we're going to go back to Reverend Suri's book, and we're picking up on chapter 6, entitled Set the Timer, Creating Milestones, Setting Goals. So if you have the book or have access to the audio book, you're welcome to review that. If not, as you know, you will listen to the book collectively for about a half an hour. That's how long it takes to listen to that chapter. And then we'll spend half an hour, 45 minutes or so talking about it. So, and you'll get information on that. It'll be posted on the church website and links to the Zoom meeting, and you'll get emails, standard emails. As DeShawn said, my wife is great with the contacts and the email connection. So you'll get that. Are there any questions before we end? Reverend Boyd, do you mind sending us off in prayer?
Sure, will do. Eternal God and Heavenly Father, we pause again in Jesus' name and come this afternoon to say thank you for being the loving God that you are. Thank you for bringing us thus far and bringing us into this discussion, God, for we know that you would desire that your children prosper. And we know that that can only happen through knowledge. And so, God, we thank you for the knowledge that was brought forth today, and just ask, Lord, that your servants will use that knowledge in a way that will make them become more prosperous. So we thank you for all that you have provided for us, and thank you for this ministry and for the facilitator today. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thanks for coming,
Amen.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
DeShawn.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Enjoy the
Have a
rest of
great
your weekend.
Saturday.
You too.
All right.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night, John Boy. Bye, Sue.